today! You are under arrest for human laundering.
Amara has been rescued from the shallow grave, barely breathing, weak, traumatized, and taken to the hospital. The kidnappers are still out there, and her life is hanging between life and death. Amara's eyelids fluttered like a dying flame struggling against the wind. Everything felt distant, muffled, heavy. Her chest rose weakly, each breath like a blade carving through her lungs. Voices floated around her. She's responding. Give her room, give her room. She should be dead. How is she alive? She wanted to speak, but her tongue felt like sand. Her throat burned. Her vision flickered, revealing white lights, blurry faces, and the cold smell of disinfectant. Where am I? Am I alive? The last thing she remembered was the soil hitting her face, the darkness swallowing her, the men laughing, the feeling of death squeezing her. Her heart thumped wildly, too fast, as panic surged. Someone touched her hand gently. Amara, the voice whispered. She blinked slowly. It was her younger brother, Ejike. His eyes red, swollen from crying. Sister, you came back to us, he whispered, trembling. Amara tried to move her lips. Only one fragile word escaped. Water. Ejike jumped up and called the nurse, and soon moisture touched her lips. She swallowed painfully. The nurse leaned over her. You're safe. You're in Living Spring Hospital. Just rest. Safe? No, she wasn't safe. They were still out there. They buried her alive once. They could come back. Her body shivered uncontrollably. She was alive, but the fear survived with her. The nightmares that followed. Amara stayed in the hospital for 8 days. 8 long nights of screaming in her sleep. 8 days of shaking at every sound. Sometimes she woke up clawing at her own throat, thinking she was still underground. The doctors said it was burial trauma, a psychological shock common in survivors of extreme terror. But nobody truly understood what she saw in that grave, what she heard, what she felt. Sometimes at night, she still heard footsteps above her, men laughing, soil hitting her face. No one should ever feel that.
Her mother, Mama Amara, refused to leave her bedside. She prayed and cried until her voice cracked. My child, they will never touch you again over my dead body. But Amara could barely speak. Her voice was thin like broken glass. Her hands trembled when she tried to hold a spoon. She couldn't sleep without the lights on. She couldn't even close her eyes fully without remembering the suffocating dark. She wasn't the same girl who went to the market that morning. She was a survivor, carrying the memory of the grave in her bones. And she knew something. Those men did not work alone. Someone wanted her dead. Someone who knew her. 3 days after she woke up fully, the police came to take her statement. Inspector Danlami tall with a scar cutting across his forehead, sat by her bedside with a recording device. "Take your time, Amara. Tell us everything." Her fingers twisted the bedsheet as she tried to recall. I didn't know them," she whispered. "The 3 men who grabbed me on the road. I've never seen them before. Anything they said, anything they did that may reveal who sent them." Amara swallowed hard. Yes, she lifted her trembling eyes to the inspector. "One of them, the one with a tattoo on his neck, he said something." "Go on." "He said she knows too much. Oga say make she disappear." The room fell silent. Inspector Danlami sat forward. Who is this Oga they were referring to? Amara shook her head slowly. I don't know, but I overheard something days before the kidnapping." Her mother stiffened. "What did you hear?" Amara closed her eyes. "I overheard Chief Okafor and Pastor Namdi arguing behind the church building. They didn't know I was there." Her voice trembled. "They were talking about money laundering, forged documents, and how someone must not find out." Inspector Danlami raised his brows. "And you think they thought you knew?" Amara nodded weakly. I didn't understand anything. I wasn't even listening intentionally. I was looking for my choir book. But when they saw me coming out from behind the building, they froze. They stared at me like they saw a ghost." "And after that?" 2 days later, I was kidnapped." A cold, heavy silence filled the room. Mama Amara crossed herself and whispered, "Jesus!" The inspector closed his notebook slowly. This was no random attack. This was a hired elimination, a planned burial, a message. And Amara was never meant to live to tell the story. The police wasted no time. Chief Okafor, wealthy businessman, church donor, and influential community figure, was too big to simply arrest without evidence. Pastor Namdi was another shielded figure. But a girl buried alive changed everything. Inspector Danlami called his team immediately. "We are dealing with attempted murder, conspiracy, kidnapping, and illegal disposal of a human body. No powerful man is above the law." A warrant was prepared. 2 police vans moved out that evening. When they reached Chief Okafor's mansion, he was seated outside drinking wine like nothing happened. His face changed when he saw the police. "I hope you people know who you are dealing with," he said coldly. "We know, and that's why we are here." Chief Okafor was arrested. That same night, Pastor Namdi was taken from the church premises. The congregation screamed. The assistant pastors tried to block the officers, but the handcuffs still clicked around his wrists. By morning, the whole town was boiling with rumors. Amara came back from the dead. They buried her alive and God rescued her. Pastor is behind it. Chief Okafor hired kidnappers. Hey, wonders shall never end. But this was only the beginning, because the kidnappers were still missing, and those were the ones who truly knew the truth. 2 weeks after Amara returned home from the hospital, bruised, frail, and walking slowly, something happened. Something that shattered her fragile peace. It was a quiet Sunday afternoon. She was sitting in the living room, sipping pap gently while Mama chopped vegetables. Then, knock, knock, knock. A slow, intentional knock at the door. Mama froze. Amara's bones turned to ice. "Oh, are you expecting anyone, Ejike?" "No," he whispered. "Knock. Knock. Knock." Amara's heart thundered violently. "No, no," she muttered, trembling. The knocking grew louder. Mama tiptoed to the window and peeked through the curtain and screamed, "Jesus! Amara, run inside!" But Amara had already seen him, standing outside, leaning on the wall, a wicked smirk on his lips. The man with the neck tattoo, one of the kidnappers, one of the men who buried her alive. He lifted his head slowly, met her eyes, and made a cutting gesture across his throat. Amara collapsed on the floor, shaking uncontrollably. "He's back! Mama, he's back! They want to finish me!" Ejike locked the door fast, the latch cracked. Mama grabbed her phone and dialed Inspector Danlami instantly. "He's here! One of them! My daughter will die, oh!" "Keep all windows locked. We are coming immediately," the inspector shouted. But the man vanished before the police arrived. It was now clear. Someone had bailed him. Someone powerful. Someone who still wanted Amara dead.
Under interrogation, Chief Okafor cracked first. He confessed that a massive fraud scheme involving church donations, fake orphanage programs, and illegal foreign accounts was about to be exposed. Documents had gone missing, and they suspected Amara heard their conversation. Pastor Namnadi, meanwhile, admitted that he helped cover the financial crimes but denied ordering any kidnapping. But text messages were found on his phone. Messages to a number saved as Butcher. The same number traced to the gang leader with the neck tattoo. When the police showed him the evidence, Pastor Namnadi collapsed into tears. "I only told him to scare her, not to kill her, not to bury her alive." Inspector Danlami stared at him coldly. "You told criminals to scare a girl? What did you think would happen?" The pastor broke down. Chief Okafor remained stone-faced. But the real problem was this. The gang leader was still missing, and Amara's life hung in the balance until he was caught. 2 nights later, it happened. It was raining heavily, thunder cracking, wind howling. Amara lay on her bed trying to sleep with the lights on. Mama was beside her. Ejike was in the next room. Suddenly, crash! The sitting room window shattered. Mama screamed. Amara bolted upright. Footsteps rushed across the floor. A shadow moved toward the corridor. A deep voice growled. "Where is she?" The tattooed man. He found their house. He came to finish what he started. Mama grabbed an iron pestle and stood in front of the bedroom door. "You will not touch my child today. Not today," she screamed. The man kicked the door with brutal force. Once, twice. On the third kick, the door burst open. Mama swung the pestle at his face, but he dodged it and slapped her so hard she hit the wall. "Mama!" Amara cried. The man stepped towards Amara like a predator. "Today you die for real," he hissed. Amara crawled backward on the bed, tears streaming. "Please, don't, I didn't do anything." He raised his machete. Bang! A gunshot exploded through the room. The man fell to the floor bleeding from the shoulder. Behind him, Inspector Danlami and 2 officers stormed in. "Move, move, secure the weapon. Amara, are you hurt?" The tattooed man tried to run, but was tackled by 2 policemen. He screamed like a trapped animal, thrashing violently. They cuffed him, dragged him out, and for the first time since she woke up in that hospital bed, Amara exhaled without fear. Inspector Danlami turned to her gently. "It's over, Amara. You are safe now. You will never be buried again." Amara burst into tears and collapsed into her mother's arms. The court trial was explosive. The whole community attended. Chief Okafor, Pastor Namnadi, the tattooed gang leader, the remaining kidnappers, all stood before the judge. Evidence was overwhelming. The audio recordings, financial documents, phone messages, the police reports, Amara's own testimony, shaking, brave, unforgettable. At the end, the judge spoke firmly. For conspiracy to murder, fraud, kidnapping, and attempted burial of a living person, sentence all defendants to life imprisonment. The courtroom erupted. Some cheered, some gasped, some cried. But Mama Amara fell to her knees, hands raised. "Thank you, Jesus. My daughter has justice." Inspector Danlami walked to Amara and bowed his head respectfully. "You didn't just survive, Amara. You exposed evil. You saved many others." Amara wiped her tears. For the first time since the grave, she felt weight lifting off her chest. Justice was stronger than fear. Months passed. Amara healed slowly. The nightmares faded little by little. She joined a support group for trauma survivors. She learned to breathe again, to laugh again, to sleep without trembling. Her story went viral across Nigeria. People called her the girl who lived, the one death could not keep, the survivor of the shallow grave. Schools invited her to speak to teenagers. Churches invited her to share her testimony. And every time she stood before a crowd, she said the same thing. "I was buried alive, but God said my story was not over." She became a symbol of hope, a reminder that darkness, no matter how deep, can never swallow light completely. One cool evening, Amara stood outside her house, watching the sunset paint the sky orange and gold. Mama stepped beside her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "You are strong, my daughter." Amara leaned into her mother. "I'm alive, Mama. I'm alive." She looked at the earth beneath her feet, the same earth that once tried to hold her captive. But now she stood tall on it, unbroken, unburied, alive. Her life once stolen now belonged fully to her again. And she made a promise to live loudly, to love deeply, to fear nothing, and to rise every day like a girl who defeated death itself. The grave could not silence her. Her story would live forever.
Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share this story. Your support keeps this channel growing. New stories drop every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday at 7 p.m. Nigeria time. Make sure you turn on your notification bell so you never miss any episode. I appreciate you deeply.